Hey guys, this is Saptarshi here and welcome to our YouTube channel. So today we are going to discuss about a very important concept called as regularization. So we are reading in context of neural network, but this is a very general concept and important for machine learning models as well. So let's start by revising what is overfitting. Okay. So, if you have a model M and you have your data is divided into training set and testing set. Okay. So if your model does well on this training data but cannot replicate the performance on the testing data, you say that the model is not generalizing well. Okay, and this is also called as overfitting. Why this happens? Because like human beings, the models also has a tendency to memorize or cheat. To give you a further example, let's say you want one student to understand how factorial works. Okay, but he finds it difficult. So instead what he does is he picks up few fast numbers, okay, maybe 1 to 6, and memorizes the corresponding factorial without understanding actually how the factorization works or factorial calculation works. Now if you give him a value 7 or 8, he cannot calculate because it is not in his input set. Okay, and it turns out that if a model has more parameters, then it has a tendency to overfit more. We will come to this discussion in a short while, but before that, let's understand that if a model is having more parameter, then we call it as a complex model. And if I train such a model on different training sets, okay, then the predictions will be close to the actual value, but there will be a lot of variation among the model's prediction because you have a lot of parameters and the parameters can vary quite a lot from each other. Okay, whereas if you have a simple model, the models that you are training on different training sets, they will be quite similar, but their prediction can be quite far away from the actual value. So let's look at an example again. So let's say you have 3 training sets. Okay, this is training set 1, this is training set 2, and this is training set 3. Okay, and let's say your testing set has only one target value, which is 5, or one observation with a target value of 5. So complex model trained on this may give you a value like this. Okay, so it will give you a value of maybe 4.7, a value of 5, and a value of 5.3 for the same target. So average, you see that it is 5, right? So when the average is close to the actual, then you say that the system has low bias, right? In this case, it is actually zero bias. The prediction are but quite varying from each other, right? So this display high variance, whereas if it is a simple model, the predictions can be something like this. So it can be something like 4.2, and it can be 4.4, and it can be 4.3. Okay, so you see that the prediction is the bias is, average of this is 4.3, so the bias is quite high, bias is 0.7. However, the variability is quite low compared to what you have over here, right? So this is a tendency of the models. Okay, this is a tendency of the models with less parameters and more parameters. Okay, now what is regularization? What is the connection of regularization with overfitting? So regularization is a tool, a mechanism which can control the tendency for memorizing or cheating. You don't allow the student now to memorize. Okay, and if you do that, then what happens is you get a model like this. Okay, so what do we mean by that? That if your model actually memorizes everything, right, tries to memorize everything, then this is what actually you are trying to learn. So this is your decision boundary. These are your two classes, right? So your model actually learns this type of decision boundary which follows the data completely, right? Memorizing. So it is overfitting, and naturally it will display high variance. Okay, and if you actually have a very simple understanding, right, in that case you have a high bias and you can have an underfitted model where there are a lot of points which are on the other side, right? So this is not right, this is not right, this is not right. Okay, and if you can make a good compromise, so if your model is regularized, right, so if you apply regularization on this model, you can get a decision boundary like this, which is kind of a good compromise, right? So you are not very wrong. At the same time, your decision boundary is not following the data blindly or trying to memorize it. Okay. Now let's evaluate why we are saying that parameters and this overfitting has some similarity or connection. So let's take the example of predicting the house price with the size. Okay, so here you have two parameters, simple linear regression model, theta 0 plus theta 1 x, that is your model. And you see that your prediction is quite far from the actual values, right? So in this case, you call it as an underfit, or the model has high bias. Okay, and when you increase a parameter and the quadratic value of this feature or quadratic function of the feature you have included, okay, in the input set, right, you see that it follows the input now quite closely, right? So this is kind of just right. So the underfit model actually had two parameters. This has got three parameters, and as you increase here to 5 parameters, more higher order terms of the feature, it follows the data closely, but it has very high variance, so it doesn't generalize at all, right? So this is the connection of the parameters, right? That as you increase the parameters, the tendency of the model to memorize or follow the data blindly actually increases. And as neural network has more and more parameters in terms of different layers, their weights, biases, activation function, so this actually has more tendency to overfitting. Okay, so we are more concerned that it will overfit. All right. Having said that, let's see how regularization works in linear regression. So if you remember, this is the cost function for linear regression, okay, which is also called as MSE or mean square error. So this is the simple cost function, right, which just tries to find out the fitment of the data. And when you regularize, what you do is one regularization which is called as ridge regression. So what you do is, this is actually a function of the weights, okay. So you try to minimize this function, not only this part but an additional part. So this is called as the penalty part or the regularization part, okay. So why you do that? Because these weights make the output sensitive to the input data. So if you try to reduce this, then your model is more regularized, okay. So there is another type of regularization where instead of the squared value of the weight, you try to minimize the absolute value of the weight. So this is your lasso regression, okay. And then you have a more general form which is called as elastic net, okay, which combines both of them. So these are called as your tuning parameters, lambda, and elastic net needs two parameters. And this is called as your L2 normalization or L2 regularization, okay, because you are taking a square from. This is called as L1 regularization, and where you are using both of them, okay, you call it as L1 L2 regularization. All these options are actually available in Keras, right? So all regularization brings a decaying effect on the weights, right? Because you see, you are trying to minimize this, and this can be used for all loss functions, not only MSE. So this is where we are establishing the connection with neural networks. Neural network is a quite general model. Based on what loss functions you are using, it can work either as a regressor, a binary classifier, or a multi-classifier, right? And this concept of regularization can be applied to any loss function. Okay. So a quick note on the L1 and L2 regularization. So basically, when you are trying to reduce that function of the weight, okay. So when you have a function like the absolute value, the function that you get is kind of a rhombus, right? And when it is a square value, right, W1 plus W2 square is something, right? So you get a circular value. And it turns out that when it is a L1 regularization, you can get some values, you can get some weights which actually cuts the axis, or it can be 0. Whereas this is not possible, okay, in case of a L2 regularization, right? So it is not so sharp like it is here in L1 regularization. So as a result, when you are using lasso, right, you can get some of the coefficients. So we said the weight will be decayed, right? So for when you are using L1 regularization, like in case of lasso, some of the weights of the neurons can actually become zero. Whereas in ridge regression, it can go towards zero, but it may not be zero. It can never be zero, okay, in some cases. So actually when you apply L1 regularization, what happens is that your models becomes more compact, okay. All right. So now let's look at another very important and intuitive technique. Okay, very important and intuitive technique called as early stopping. So here what you do is you keep a training set and a validation set. So the data overfits. The data overfits on the training data. So same time when you are evaluating on your training data, you keep on evaluating on your validation set or testing set. So wherever you see that the validation, so at one point of time, you see both of them are going down, right? But there will be a point from where the validation set will not stop, it will start increasing, right? The validation error. Whereas the training set error will still go on reducing. So this is a place where you will stop and you will pick that model as the best model. Okay, so this strategy is called as an early stopping strategy, and this works very well as a regularizer. Okay, all right. Now let's look at another kind of regularization technique, which is called as dropout. So what happens in dropout is usually it is applied to the hidden units of higher layers and a fraction of the hidden units. So you remember the structure of neural networks, right? So if this is a hidden layer, this will have several neurons, right? So on one run of this neural network, okay, not all neurons are peaked. So this neuron will be peaked with a probability of 0.5, right? This will also be peaked with a probability of 0.5. Okay. So why do we do that? So this also is a tendency, or this also is a strategy not to allow the model to overfit. Because if the model doesn't know, what parameters or what storage it is going to keep for memorizing, how it will memorize, right? So, in training set, what happens is, you see, if you apply a dropout probability, some of the neurons will, in this layer, if you are applying this, these are 6 neurons, maybe these 3 are dropped out and these 3 are active, right? However, when you are evaluating, you are using all the models. And you can think that this actually brings an effect of ensembling. Why so? Because you can think that as at different training iteration, different neurons are working. So you can treat them as a separate model. Okay. So once your training is done, actually different models are trained. Okay. And once you are using all the weights, to actually do the prediction, you can think of that all these separate models are participating and their prediction is getting averaged out, right? So this works perfectly like an ensemble. All right. And now let's also look at a visualization of the difference between early stopping versus L2 regularization. So as we said, if you have parameter values like W1 and W2 and you are using some optimizer like SGD to find the optimal value, so if this is your constraint, right? So this is what happens in your L2 regularization, okay? You will pick a value of W1 and W2 or a cost value where, there is an intersection, okay? So this is what happens. So this is why, for regularization also, it doesn't go and find this value and you get a regularized weight value here. In case of early stopping, what happens is, again, you do not go to the entire space and find the optimal value, but you go at a point where your validation error has saturated and you pick that value of W. So this is where, from trajectory point of view, they are different. Finally, let's look at one comparison of L2 regularization and dropout. So this is only on a single hidden layer neural network. Okay. So this is the architecture. This is the MNIST data set. So you see input, you have 784 neurons. You have one hidden layer which has 10 neuron. And then finally you have a softmax layer with all 10 nodes because it is a 10 class classification problem. All right. And you see this is the L2 regularization result and this is the dropout result. So what the authors saw is that when they actually increase the number of neurons in the hidden layer, the dropouts actually started performing better than L2 regularization. So you see that when you are using some hidden layers like 600, okay, or maybe even if you see around maybe 400 hidden layers, the dropout has started performing better, right? And finally, you see that there is quite a lot of gain, maybe around only 1%, but there is a gain on the dropout strategy. Okay, so we will discuss on more regularization strategies in our next lecture, and we will try to give you some empirical studies like this on which occasion which regularization technique has worked well. Okay, but there is no panacea, no one size fits solution, so you have try out different solution and see which one is working better. Thanks so much guys for watching this video. If you have find this helpful, please do the ritual of liking, subscribing and giving your comment. Thank you so much once again.